Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the IrishHotspur, here to kind of celebrate with you all that massive result. And we're going to be headed into international break with plenty of content. Don't you worry. Dave, as well, everybody, do stay tuned. Do kind of almost clear your schedule, you could say, for tonight. Dave's going to have a really good tactical breakdown. I'm kind of here to present you guys a bit of kind of a quick sort of Twitter reaction, as well as that community page post that we put as well. People put in their comments there. But sort of a reaction, kind of just letting you guys get your thoughts on the game, get your thoughts on maybe the future of Spurs, perhaps maybe some tactical things. I mean, there were so many things to talk about that game. There's so many rotations that Conte made. Obviously, Sonny coming back into fit and firing, and like Pierogi said, getting that huge elephant off his back. So many things to discuss, everybody. So if you want to, maybe last minute here, maybe a bit of a buzzer beater, you could follow David here on Twitter. It's pinned in the chat. Put in a comment under, I believe, that post that he put, I believe, yesterday, that kind of talks about Sonny's massive day. There are plenty of people that put in their comments. We're going to respond to it. We're going to basically just give you guys kind of your sort of voice today. Has nothing really to do with me or really David at all. Just getting your voices out there and seeing what you have to say. And, perhaps I'll get my responses into, but it's really just to have you guys have your voice out there. But everybody, while you're in here, do smash that like button. I'm going to get to a few people in the comments first. It's really nice to see you all this Sunday. Really nice to see also the wet spam as well, the bubble blowers dropping points as well. Absolutely massive for us to see them pretty much almost out of the contention. It feels like they'll struggle even to finish inside the top 10 at this stage. But let's speak to Pierogi saying, happy Sunday, everybody. How many pounds was that elephant that Sonny got up his back yesterday? I mean, too many, probably almost 2 elephants worth. He really just didn't even know how to respond. It felt like at first he just practically broke down, you could say, and the whole team embraced him. It was really beautiful to see the whole team embrace him. It just shows how much of a camaraderie there is, how much of a team kind of unity we have in this team. It's really beautiful to see, if you ask me. Pierogi, beautiful, beautiful hit as well. I mean, world class goal nonetheless, but it was so lovely to see all the boys surround Sonny. But yeah, huge elephant off his back. Absolutely. Almost two of them. Ben Kaufman saying, good afternoon, everybody. We certainly scored some goals yesterday. Big up, Mr. Harrison, Jacko. Big yourself up, Ben. Hopefully it was absolutely cracking yesterday in London. Let me know if you were able to go to the game, Ben. But if not, Ben, but if not, I bet the sofa, I bet the living room was absolutely buzzing, brother. Good to see you. Mark saying Bentancur was a beast. He certainly was. And I think he's honestly looking like probably one of the most in shape midfielders. And he probably has a bit more range than the likes of Højbjerg, with how much ground he can sometimes cover with his sort of sprinting. He's maybe a bit faster than Højbjerg. And I thought he was an absolute menace yesterday. Sometimes he has these games where he just goes on a tirade with how much he's running. Big up, Mark. I really appreciate it. And good to see you in the chat as well. Big up, TZ. Good to see you in the chat. It was a great win yesterday. Yes, it was. Spurs 89 in the chat as well. Steve D. Good to see you. Steve D. Hungover from hell. What a laugh. Come on, you Spurs. What a day, my man. I mean, seriously, you had everybody kind of doubting us at halftime, thinking that we weren't going to pull through, and that somehow we just pulled out 4 goals out of nothing there, Steve D, and just absolutely destroyed him. Must have been one of the halftime team talks of a lifetime. And as well, though, I mean, don't get me wrong, plenty of changes that Conte put in as well with new players that wanted to prove something. But Steve D, I mean, what a night. What a night. I think plenty of beers was certainly the right way to go about it, brother. Big yourself up. Jethro Zulu saying we're going to humble Arsenal. Certainly, Jethro, big yourself up. Mark New in the house, big yourself up, mate. Kingo of White Hart Lane, King of White Hart Lane, sorry. Sonny, hat-trick hero, Tottenham legend. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. And we're contenders. Big yourself up, Mark. And it's good to see you in the chat as well. Martin Walton, big up, lads. Cracking game and result yesterday. Certainly a very cracking game and probably much needed result. This game has always been a goal fest. I think we'll break down later, probably with the tactical breakdown with Dave and whatnot, about whether those goals that we conceded were really Spurs' fault. I have kind of some feelings that weren't really Spurs' fault, the way that we kind of conceded those goals, but we'll probably get into that later. Big yourself up, Martin Wallen. Dark Sun G with a super chat here saying, come on, you Spurs. Now, after the international break, let's smash the Gooners and ruin their great run and turn it into a bad losing streak. Sun tied with hat trick. With I think with Cristiano maybe, or hat tricks. Sun tied with hat tricks, maybe with Cristiano or something. Yeah, with 3 there, absolutely ridiculous. And I think he broke the record, Sonny, for being the first ever Spurs, or at least Premier League player to come off the bench I think at a halftime, or at least in the second half, or at least just come off the bench as a sub and score a hat trick. Absolutely insane, my man. And he's broken plenty of records, but there's another one for Sunday to grab there. And I think this international break, I think it will serve us well. I think that was a massive win for us. Don't get me wrong. I did watch Arsenal actually play Brentford this morning, and I think Brentford really did kind of sort of hide away, and conceding that sort of that set piece goal from the corner was really damaging, I think, to the likes of Brentford. It was disappointing to see. I think that sort of gave Arsenal a bit of life. There were some moments when I thought Brentford were close to breaking through in kind of the first 15 minutes, but just didn't end up working out for them. But I guess we're going to see how we can handle the likes of the Gooners and the Lego Man when we go to their house, Dark Sun June, when we go to their toilet bowl. Big yourself up, brother. Got Paul Brown in the house. Good to see you, Paul. Afternoon, David. Guess and all in the chat. Big up, Paul. R Green, always good to see you. R Green, big up, Derek Smith. One difference in that second half is the speed of transition. Certainly, Derek, really good thing to point out. And certainly, like I'll plug again, please, everybody, clear your schedules for that tactical breakdown. I think David's going to have a really good one. I think with the likes of Sean, actually, from Spurs Talk Show as well. So do check it out, everybody. Foggy Foam in the house. Big up Jack in the chat. Big yourself up, Foggy. Good to see you. Tequila as well. We have Ian Ferguson in the house. Good to see you, Ian. A decent result for Erta. And also, I forgot to say as well, the Spurs ladies or the Spurs women won 2-1 just now, I believe, against Leicester as well, everybody. Some massive day of beating the Foxes. Every single team has been hunting the Foxes, and they're no longer can be found in London. There you are. But actually, I think the Spurs women went away from home. So maybe that joke or that pun not as funny as you think it would be. Big up, Mark. Big up, Welsh Gal. Always good to see you, Welsh Gal. Big up, Tom, THFC. Great to be unbeaten going into this North London derby, certainly. And the Gooners can't say that about themselves. And they'll be coming up against a big team. Last time they came up against a big team, they did crumble, Tom. But, I mean, it's always a North London derby. Such a difficult one to dissect. I think any sort of point, any sort of result there, I'd be absolutely delighted with, because I'm pretty sure we will smash them in our own house. But the question is, how do they handle us in their place? Big up, Tom. Colin Turner, good to see you. Enrique Brasino, good to see you. And I'm just Maria Williams as well. I feel like it's been a long time as well, Maria. Good to see you as well. And yes, I mean, a massive 2-1 win. I think, what did I see? What was it? I think it was Drew Spence. Let me just confirm. An own goal as well as a goal. I think she scored a goal towards the end of halftime, or towards the end of the first half, and then scored a goal towards the end of the first half, and then got an own goal at the beginning of the second half. I mean, kind of ridiculous. Usually it's the other way around, Maria. Absolute brilliant result for the Spurs women, as well as the Spurs men as well. Big yourself up, Maria, and good to see you, Claude Murphy, as well, and good to see you, Frank Last and forward below. But last but not least, everybody, let's smash that like button before we get into it. We're going to get straight into kind of just the Twitter sphere. We're going to get straight into kind of the community section as well. I just want to kind of maybe give my thoughts, though, very, very quickly. I do promise that I just maybe some things that might not be brought up, maybe in the tactical breakdown, maybe these might not be brought up in the Twitter kind of things. They're just kind of things that sort of think maybe are little talking points for you guys in the chat to respond to. But I thought the first goal we conceded was pretty much, and I think I'll get into it, but both goals we conceded were not really as much like a condition of the defense being so poor. It was more a condition, I think, of the individuals being so poor in those moments. I think Sanchez just had an absolute howler to concede that penalty to us. As much as you could say Justin perhaps maybe bought it, or perhaps maybe even dived to receive that penalty, I thought like that was coming. Sanchez had all day to either take that ball down to clear it, or even, play it to Lloris backwards. I mean, he just had 1,000 different options when he first received that ball, and then he misclears it with his knee or whatever it was, just hits it. From then on, he misses 2 tackles to then go on and take a guy down for a penalty. I mean, it was an absolute, it was chaos. It was one of the most disgusting bits of defending I've ever seen in a while. It just really was a real horror show. So I must say, does that really reflect the defense? Does that really reflect the whole back line? In my eyes, it doesn't, actually. In my eyes, it doesn't. I think that more just reflects Sanchez perhaps being very nervous, perhaps being very rattled or full of adrenaline. I'm not sure. It will be something that we'll get into later. But Gianni Vio absolutely saving us after we conceded that penalty, and after we went 1-0 down. Gianni Vio saving us with that brilliant set piece routine, which again we'll get into with the tactical breakdown with the likes of Kulusevski, Perisic coming short, Kulusevski putting in those beautiful balls into the back post that we know he can do from those areas. It seems to be his sort of trademark, is to be able to put in kind of a delicious sort of kind of curling ball, aim for that back post, which is really hard, it seems like, for the keeper to read because they're not really lofty. They're kind of coming in with a lot of pace and a lot of bend. You sort of have a lot of guys jumping and kind of nodding for it. It's almost impossible for the keeper to go for it. So they kind of just sit and wait and see if the header goes towards them. And I think that's what happened there. As much as Danny Ward isn't a great keeper, I think that was just absolutely delicious and gorgeous ball played by Kulusevski. Madison's goal, I thought, was a really class finish, to be fair. It was more maybe if you were to fault the defense, you could fault Sessegnon. I think a lot of occasions Sessegnon didn't really win his aerial duels very well. And then it's on top of that, I don't know, like I think Dyer, you could say, didn't really track his man very well because Longley kind of goes to cover the near post. I think he sort of knows Madison is coming, but the way they sort of looked at each other, at least from what I look back on it, the way sort of Longley and Dyer acknowledge each other, they know that Madison's kind of the only guy in the box. And it seemed like maybe Longley covers the near post, knows that Madison is behind him, but then Dyer sees Madison in front of him. I don't really want to fault Dyer, though, very much because I think he actually got really close to him and was actually pretty touch tight for the most part. It was a pretty sensational finish. It's not even like he took a touch or anything, Madison. So it was a pretty crazy finish. And I'm not going to fault him too much. If you were to fault anybody, I guess you could fault Sessegnon for missing kind of the aerial duel because he actually missed a few of those, felt like that game. Leicester, as much as they did dominate possession that game, they pretty much have weirdly dominated possession. I think in most games they played so far this season, while losing most of their games this season, they've actually dominated possession in most games this season, from what I was able to see on kind of some stats with Jack sort of kind of research beforehand. It looks like they've had majority of the possession in most games they've played so far in the Premier League. So it wasn't much of a surprise that they would have more possession against us. So while maybe a lot of people like to freak out about that, I would say this one, maybe not as much as you probably should. Bentancur's goal, I thought, was exceptionally clutch because went into halftime, I thought, pretty negative, and maybe rightfully so, conceding 2 goals to Leicester that certainly were not good goals to concede. Like I kind of explained, maybe more kind of faults of the individuals than really faults of the defense. But then again, I must say, like going into halftime, we were probably a bit skeptical of kind of this team. And Bentancur just absolutely clutched up for us and being able to also score his first ever Spurs goal. And he's not really known for his finishing. Usually anytime he gets it at the top of the box, it's usually a souvenir, I would say, for the crowd. But certainly a really good goal for Bentancur and very clutch for us, I think, as well, getting 3-2 up that quickly into the second half. And then before I forget, I think Lloris had a really good game. Last thing, and then I'll get straight into the comments, straight back into the Twitter and whatnot. I apologize for delaying, but I thought Lloris had a really good game. I thought his distribution was pretty exceptional, actually, considering his delivery his distribution is pretty poor, especially recently. It's been quite poor. So I don't know. I think I thought that was a really good game from Lloris, if you ask me. But I'm going to get into the comments just quickly, see what anybody else has to say. We do have a Dark Sun G super chat saying, I'm just glad that after the Foxes scored their pen, we came out and beat them, unlike 2 years ago when Bobo gave a stupid pen like Sanchez and we lost badly at home. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Dark Sun G, Gianni Vio, that set piece coach, is an absolute weapon for us. He's sort of the secret weapon, if you ask me, of our team. And I know Kulusevski should probably be credited a lot for that exceptional delivery, that exceptional that ball into the back post. But that was very much drawn up by Spurs. It felt like they knew that Leicester had done their homework on our set piece style because we do like to hit the near post kind of a lot with some of our deliveries. But by the looks of things, it seemed like maybe Gianni Vio kind of played a trick on them by playing it short back to Kulusevski, then hitting it to the back post to the back post, not the near post, and then scoring a goal there. I think it was actually a pretty clever play by the secret weapon, Gianni Vio. And certainly after conceding that penalty, we've responded a whole lot better. Big up, Dark Sun G. Really do appreciate it. Fair play to Madison. Just thought it was a great goal. No real blame on anyone. Yeah, I kind of felt like I was kept digressing about that, Martin. Like, I don't really know, like, if I were to blame somebody, I guess you would blame the initial part on Sessegnon. But then again, like, it seems like you're being maybe harsh at that stage. I agree with you there, Martin. Big up RAI. Good to see you. Big up Stansberg. Good to see you as well. Just making sure I'm not missing other people in the chat. Izzy Hassan saying, will we ever see Spence? Perhaps in some upcoming FA Cup, Eric Carabao Cup game, he could be used exclusively maybe for those competitions. The tactical breakdown is going to be tonight, Kane. Don't you worry. It's going to be tonight. Catman Jess, really good to see you. Gene D, really good to see you as well. Mick Hermalock, all is good with you, I'm assuming, but good to see you as well. That's Serge Aurier, Shrikard, don't you worry. But everybody, let's bring up the Twitter sphere. Enough talking, enough kind of blabbering on here. Let's bring up the Twitter sphere. Dermot here saying, what a crazy game. The mighty Tottenham Hotspur are on, or maybe I actually should go back to David's original comment. Sonaldo is back, baby. What a crazy game, eh? We are still unbeaten in the Premier League. So much to talk about. Where do we start? What's your thoughts, Tottenham fans? Dermot then said, what a crazy game. The mighty Tottenham Hotspur on the march to the league. First half was a bit doggy, but a three-man midfield and Sonny on boy what a performance by him. Son and Kane, the king of the lane, White Hart Lane. Come on, you Spurs, massive. And then Lucentum Spurs commenting saying midweek we were crap. Yesterday, title challengers. I demand a bit of reality in the judgment. Let's not hype too much. We beat the bottom team in relegation form. Hope Sonaldo keeps going on. And then who knows what THFC is capable of. Certainly a very mixed week. But if you were to look at it in a positive light there, you could argue that it seems like Spurs are quite cursed, if not quite. I don't know how you put it maybe properly. Just they don't seem to show up in these European away games. I don't know what it is. It seems like we've had plenty of kind of alarm bells or plenty of lessons when it comes to those European away games, if you ask me. But big up. We got Chris in the house. Good to see you, Chris, with his Twitter response saying, my thoughts on the game. Poor first half. Sanchez should train with the under 23s after his performance. For Charleston wasn't that great. Very true there. Kulusevski needs to start every game. Son needs to be bent, or Son been benched was the right decision, made him angry, and then he came up with the goals. I guess that is sort of the most common response to this is benching Sonny gave Sonny the chance to sort of come alight and get all those goals and respond, I guess, in the quickest way possible. But perhaps I think it was a bit of the condition of the 3-5-2. And maybe like Spurs 89 just sort of said probably before me. Sorry about that, Spurs 89. I didn't see your comment, but you stole my thunder there. Well done, my man. And yeah, I think Sonny actually started to look a lot better with that 3-5-2. I think you could argue that when he's running in behind on kind of the last man, or at least standing on more of the shoulder of some of the defenders, and he's able to make those brilliantly world-class timed runs in behind from those deliveries from either Højbjerg, Harry Kane, etc. He is, I think, an exceptional player, and that's more of his comfort zone. I think when he plays that left wing role, he is asked to do a bit more hold-up play. He is asked to drop a bit deeper lots of times and actually have his back to goal on plenty of occasions. And while I think Sonny has actually improved tremendously, like in that regard, perhaps a part of his game that he didn't really have to ever be asked to do too much. And Conte has asked him to do a lot of improvement in that regard. And I think Sonny has shown improvement there. But I just feel like that left wing position, you could say, might not be the most comfortable there. And I think he's still learning like anybody would. He'd think he's just still learning there. Whereas when he plays in that 3-5-2 as a second striker, he's deadly. I mean, he's just immediately back in his comfort zone and looking like one of the best players in the world. So I don't know. It's this adaptation period, but I think Conte is going to have to consider how naturally good Spurs did look at times with that 3-5-2. They're going to have to intermix it probably a bit more with how comfortable Spurs looked with it, but big yourself up. Spurs 89. Big up Dan Davenport. Good to see you. Big up Willie Cath. Yeah, his ability outside the box is insane. Big up the Smasher. Good to see you as well. But yeah, everybody back to the Twitter sphere. Zoe, good to see you, Zoe. Thanks for the Twitter response saying, looking forward to match of the day for the first time in weeks. Great to see Sonny firing again, going into international break unbeaten. And just before the North London Derby is great for morale. 3-5-2 is a game changer. That definitely is a big game changer, certainly, Zoe. And I would ask probably everybody in the chat, as well as I would ask people in the Twitter sphere, do you feel like the 3-5-2 should be deployed against the likes of the scum? Should we deploy them against Arsenal? The 3-5-2. Do let me know, everybody. Lisa Oatley, good to see you. Says, too bad we have to wait 2 weeks to play Arsenal. They could be shaking in their boots after that. Awesome watch along. And also I caught the build-up show. Great day all around to go into the international break. Hat trick Sonny, hat trick Son, hat trick Sonny. Let's have another one. Big up, Lisa. Really appreciate it. Absolute legend. And hopefully you're keeping well. And on top of that, I think, would you want to play Arsenal next week after this North London derby, everybody? Or would you rather have this international break? Let me know in the comments. So, two big questions that I did just ask you kind of right off the bat. Would you play that 3-5-2 against North London derby or against the likes of Arsenal? Or would you, and also, sorry, excuse me, and also, would you, sorry, would you rather play also Arsenal next week? So would you play Arsenal next weekend or maybe wait a little bit after international break? And then also, would you deploy that 3-5-2? Do let me know. Spurs 89 saying Arsenal tried to dominate in the midfield. Makes sense to try 3-5-2. In my opinion, can always revert back. Interesting point. It seems like how Conte wants to go about it, where he likes to start with the 3-4-3, maybe because it's a bit more natural with how he thinks that I don't know. A lot of people basically just break it down saying that we have such world class forwards. If we go with the 3-5-2, we are leaving one of our world class forwards on the bench. On top of the fact that with that back five, with a back five or a back three, you're already usually then leaving an extra forward or an extra midfielder off just by the natural point of that's how kind of that formation works. So then if you're going with the 3-5-2, it's then even extra sort of kind of forwards and whatnot that you're probably leaving off the team. And Spurs 89, I think that's maybe where Conte's feeling is that he has such world-class forwards available to him that 3-4-3 seems to want to try to fine-tune the best. But like we said before, that 3-5-2 we look really comfortable with. But big up, Lisa. Good to see you in the chat. Bangkok, always good to see you. Bastoni got subbed on 30 minutes, was furious. January transfer. Who knows? That would be absolutely brilliant if we somehow, who knows, maybe we get him for even cheaper than we would have in the summer there, Mark. Who knows? But something to get into. Rob Belcher saying it shows that when Sonny strikes a ball from distance, he's the ideal choice to take our free kicks. There you go, Rob. It just, I don't know. Kane must have something on the rest of the team. Perhaps he's got some dirt on the rest of the team because they continue to let him take the free kicks. Big up. It seems a buzzkill, especially both teams' form. Yeah, good point. I guess with the Gooners as well, winning 3-0 there, Gunner. You could say both teams would probably want to just go straight back into it and just play each other the following week. But I don't know. Maybe this international break will build up the suspense even more. It's almost for the TV for the TV money. I think it's absolutely brilliant for them. Almost well timed. Maybe even intentional. Who knows? Maybe even the schedule is done intentionally. Big up Spurs 89. But going down, sorry everybody. Not Mark Miller says Lloris, Bentancur, Son, Decky, Perisic, all remarkable. Bentancur, Lloris, I think Son, and Kulusevski, I think were all my man of the matches. I believe for that game. When I think about it, I think in the chat we went for Lloris because I had to shout out Lloris. Bentancur exceptional. Son, of course. And then I think, yeah, Kulusevski. And I think Kulusevski, where I think our four candidates for man of the match. Absolutely. Big yourself up, not Mark Miller. Tommy B says, agree with lots of what I've seen here. 3-5-2 looks more comfortable as we don't surrender the ball so easily. And also you have someone like Mbasuma who works so hard in that middle. Then you have Højbjerg and Bentancur who actually seem to be kind of the runners of the 3-5-2, a bit more box to box. And I guess even with Højbjerg too, he's been a box to box player before with the likes of Denmark in the Euro. So who knows? Maybe something to think about over this international break, everybody. PB saying the outpouring of joy and relief when Son scored was off the charts. Once again, the ref was suspect, especially the twice taken pen and the disallowed goal. They just wanted it to go in, PB. They just certainly wanted it to go in. I must say as well, I really don't like how when I'm, watching back the highlights, watching back the game and everything, just feels like over here in the States, at least for the Yanks, PB. So all of the like British commentators for the American TV of NBC Sports and Peacock, feels like all of them are like Chelsea or Arsenal players or former Chelsea or Arsenal players. There's yet to see like a former Spurs player in there. It's kind of quite annoying. But big yourself up, PB. Random tangent of mine. Brian Smith saying buzzing. Also, Spurs can play better as well. Conte has to go 3 in the midfield. And Bentancur had a great second half. He certainly had a great second half. And like I said, and a really clutch goal. Brian Smith, a really clutch goal. Dark Sun G with the super chat saying, we are unbeaten in London derbies with Kulu and Bentancur, so have full confidence we will finally smash the Gooners at their home. Just please, no injuries this time. That's another thing maybe. If anything, to probably kind of defeat my question from before, Dark Sunji, where I asked, would you want this international break before the North London Derby to take a break, take a pause, take a breath? But when you think about it, I mean, there's so many injuries. We've been cursed before in this international break, especially the likes of Romero. Always is used a lot with Argentina. He could come back injured. These are not good vibes. These are not good thoughts to be to put out there. But it's just something I didn't think about, I guess, Dark Sun G, with the international break, because we are cursed with the injuries over that time period. So if I were to go back to my original question, I would say, yeah, I'd rather play the Gooners next week, just because then we probably risk less the chance of players coming back injured. But London Derby's been playing a whole lot better since those signings in January. You're absolutely right. And Bentancur, I think, will really be up for that game, as well as Højbjerg, we know. But I think having those two will be exceptional. I feel like we should go for the likes of Basuma too, because having that much steel in the midfield against all those sort of tricky players of the likes of Arsenal could be a really good counter to them, Dark Sunji. I think with Arsenal, they have a lot of sort of technically gifted players, but they don't really have a lot of steel in that team. And I think they could get easily kind of pushed over, especially in a North London derby, when the referee might let a few kind of tackles go. It's going to be kind of a feisty one, you could say. So I feel like maybe having the more kind of strong, hard-nosed midfielders like Basuma, Bentancur, Højbjerg to counter those Odegaards and Smith Rose and Vieiras, etc. of the team, I think that could really help us out, if you ask me. But I guess I am going for that 3-5-2 as well. Big yourself up, Dark Sunji. Really appreciate your support as well, brother. Really appreciate it. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody that's joined us. Big up, Ricky Nato. Good to see you in the house. Big up, Darren. Also, good to see you. Just making sure. Rob Belcher, if I didn't say hello, good to see you. Lee Richards, Darren. We always lose at the bridge too, but not this season. This is Conte Spurs. We don't go away and fold so easily under Conte like we always used to under other managers. Good to see you, Lee. Appreciate it. Layer Cake, welcome to the house as well. And Brian McGuire, welcome to the house. All right, we're going to keep going, everybody. Benny saying Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Basuma in midfield look solid. I actually believe we are in for a shot at the title this season. We haven't even reached our best form yet, and we are getting the points. When we get out of first gear, we are going to be unstoppable. Son is just a beast. He unleashed the buckets of goals that were just in him. He had buckets of goals waiting, and he decided to dump them out in that game, Benny. It was unbelievable. And I think if you even look at the XG, to be fair, the XG is actually quite similar between Leicester and Spurs, and that just sort of speaks to at least Sonny's first goal and his second goal just being absolutely world class. I'm a bit surprised that the XG is, I don't know, our XG was 1.7, and I believe theirs was also 1.7. I'm kind of surprised that theirs was so high. Maybe they missed a huge chance that I'm forgetting, but I feel like ours should have been a bit higher, if you ask me. It could have been. I'm fine with it being close. That sort of does reflect the game, but to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense that it was actually close to the same, unless I'm being crazy here. But big up, Catman Jess, and big up, Nicholas Michael from Cyprus. Hope all is well. We have KJ Hotspur saying piss poor center back should start with Sess and Perisic from now on, but Sess just needs help with over the top balls defensively, and Son is back. I actually thought Dyer was pretty decent that game for the most part. I thought Sanchez, we know, was just Sanchez, and I think David was proved very right when it comes to Sanchez. Longley, I think, is actually quite class. So KJ, maybe we don't have enough depth. Certainly, we don't have enough depth and quality in the center back positions, but I kind of felt like yesterday had a lot more to do with the individuals when it came to the defense than it did with the actual defense itself. I actually thought Dyer had a decent game. Maybe I'm crazy there, but I also thought Clement Longley actually also had a pretty solid game as well. So whereas Sanchez was just in his own world, you could argue. Pick up KJ though. Mr. P, great name, says slow starts and silly mistakes again. However, great recovery in the second half to put them to bed. Pretty much the opposite to Jose's reign. We'd start up well, score one or two, and then stop playing and lose. I think at one stage, you're so right, Mr. P. I think even at one stage, we were wanting to score in the second half instead of scoring in the first half. We actually hated it when Spurs started off so quickly because we knew that meant that the rest of the game was going to be an absolute drag, and we were just going to be sitting behind the ball for the entirety of it. Where it seems like Conte's team, you could say, is kind of, to a degree, quite the opposite, where it's almost a slow churning train where we do sometimes start quickly, but not very often. And we're able to, in fact, even we go down in plenty of times in the beginning of the game. But then, kind of like a slow churning train, we just become like an unstoppable force over the rest of the game. And especially in the second half, we do often look unstoppable. Big yourself up, Mr. P. But I would like to start games better. And I think we have been starting games better. It's just we continue to concede early in plenty of occasions. We continue to concede early. Excuse me, everybody. Supersonic says Supersonic says Andrew Gregory. Big yourself up, Andrew. Absolutely. I guess that person might have me blocked or something, so can't look at those ones. Going to take a look at the community section, everyone. Then we'll get to the rest of the comments. If you have any questions, if you have any comments on the game in particular, we'll bring them up. Then we'll just get out of here and wrap it up on this Sunday. Shamu Van Spurs says Leicester got. Oh, well, I'm not going to read that, but big yourself up, Shamu. Or actually, I need to go to the top here where I wrote, what a roller coaster of a game. Lots of rotation, tactical changes, and plenty of things to talk about. Give us your thoughts on the 6-2 win versus Leicester, and we'll discuss it tomorrow on Twitter Reacts. There you are, everybody. Leo Greenfinger saying, such an enjoyable game and so happy for Son. That's pretty much what I wrote on Twitter, word for word there, Leo. Spot on there. And I think it was, for probably the neutral, a very fun game to watch. Plenty of goals. Seemed like any team could have won it at certain stages of it. And then Spurs just absolutely ran away with it. Big up green fingers. Sean Maddox says, just happy to see Sonny smiling in. After the break, we push on. I think it is good to see Sonny going into this international break, feeling kind of on top of the world. Sean, I think if he had gone into the international break still without a goal, or at least still with, let's say he had a poor performance, I think it would have been bad vibes over that international break. And who's to know whether he would even been, I think he would start him in North London Derby, don't get me wrong, but then it would just be less of a question. You would then consider, do you start Richie again? Do you persist with other players? It becomes more of a headache, I would say, Sean, if he didn't score those 3 goals. I still like to back the world-class players, but don't get me wrong. I think you still would have to be a bit concerned, but not something we have to think about anymore. Dark Sun G says, I saw a stat that now Son is now tied with the amount of hat tricks with Ronaldo with 3. I did guess what you wrote. I'm happy I did. Also, I love how we are 17 points and 11 goal difference in 7 games. Unlike last season, we were 12 points and minus, Lord, minus 8 goal difference. That is disgusting. It shows also as well how much we were grinding. If anybody thinks we were grinding results now, I mean, we were grinding results then under Nuno. I mean, 12 points and minus 8 goal difference. Wow, that is crazy. Still crazy to even think about. Talk about grinding results, but absolutely, that is a ridiculous. Just shows he's just trying to mimic, or he is Sonaldo, if anything, with that sort of stat. Dark Sun G just proves that he's Sonaldo. Big yourself up. Colin Turner says Dyer is very important at the back, even if people don't recognize it. Bissouma looked good in a 3-man midfield, but at the expense of Kulu, it's a nice problem to have. I think it just shows that we can go with different things. And Sonny, it looks exceptional as a second striker with Kane. We saw that work against the likes of Liverpool. I think we know it is a deadly combination to go with. And if you have hardworking midfielders that can give them the service, certainly something to think about. And it's a nice problem to have. Absolutely. And Dyer, I did think actually had a decent game yesterday. Colin, big yourself up. And I'm pretty sure I saw you in the chat as well, Colin. So thank you for putting in your comments. Steven THFC says, or Stefan says, we didn't play well. Very unenjoyable most of the game till Son came on. Leicester were all over us. Had they made their attacking sub sooner, they might have killed us. Still lots of work to be done. Great that Son is back scoring goals. I see where you're coming from, Steven, when it comes to probably the first half. I feel like the second half, did Leicester really do very much? Because once Bentancur, I thought, got his goal, they weren't exactly threatening the goal nearly as much. I think what it really was is the if he had made substitutions maybe right away after the first half had ended, Stefan, then maybe he could have found himself in a better position. Brendan Rodgers would have. But I don't know. I think once Bentancur got that really clutch goal for us, I think we looked a whole lot better. And that's just because of kind of the momentum and the good feelings that you get from that sort of goal that Bentancur got. You could even say at some stage against the run of play, considering it was right after or right at the beginning of the second half. But I don't know. I feel like maybe the first half I'd agree with you there. Maybe not as much the second half. Shamu says Leicester doing it again. Son is literally prime Ronaldo. And can we talk about how good Dyer is? That shows you why England need him. And funny enough, He has more goals than the likes of Van Dijk, Koulibaly, Silva, etc. Let's put some respect on his name. What a player. I guess there's a reason we should be putting bets on Moon Boots there. If Moondog is listening, there's a reason you should be putting bets on Moondog. Big up Kieran Spiteri. He's with that stat that you saw earlier there, Kieran. He's turning into Sonaldo here. And then Tio as well. It was a great game. Massive game. Massive weekend for us, everybody. But there you are, everybody. Twitter, the likes of the community page, all done. Just gonna kind of say hello, or at least maybe kind of give my goodbyes to people in the chat. Really do appreciate you all tuning in. Maybe some last comments as well. Big up, Rob. Really appreciate that, everybody. Do smash that like button on your way out as well. G&D saying Longley over Davies. Longley was very solid. Yeah, I agree. Chris Benoit, individual brilliance made the difference this game. I think it certainly did, Chris, certainly in the case of Sonny, but also individual, I don't know, just poor performances from the likes of Sanchez also made the difference. It made Leicester get belief in the fact that they were able to go 1-0 up. If Sanchez wasn't playing, I think in the beginning of that game, I don't think you see Romero do that. So, Chris, as much as I would say the brilliant performances maybe got us out of the game, some of those poor performances from our individuals maybe put us in that position. But that's just maybe a hot take of mine. Catman Jess saying, did you see that Ben Rama corner today, Jack? Had to be the worst taken corner I've ever seen. I think Gio Lo Celso would be probably proud of that corner, Catman, if you know what I mean. Big up. Layer Cake, the Premier League should have given us less games during the Champions League. Maybe I don't understand that. Big up, though, Layer Cake. Alfred, what is the story of Longley's deal? Why do we not have an agreed price before we give him more minutes? I think there is some sort of deal in hand where I think we're allowed to potentially pursue him. And also, it's Longley's choice of where he wants to go at the end of the day. So if he wants to come to Spurs and Spurs pay whatever, I think, low buy option that it is, then they'll take it and he'll head to Spurs, especially if he enjoys his life here. I mean, he's not just going to head to some other club, especially if he enjoys his time here and he knows that he gets playing time here. Daz Alir saying January, we need 3 more. Then you never know what might happen. Absolutely, Daz. Big yourself up. Any possibilities for another itch in January, Jack? Sergei Milinkovic-Savic would be absolutely lovely, Welsh gal. If we were to go for... Are there any itches on the market in the likes of wingbacks? I don't really think there are in terms of right wingbacks, which is a bit of a shame because we do need a right wingback, but I can't think of any itches at this moment in time. Let's see. For center backs, if we want to take a look at Milinkovic, he's big, tall, strong, not as good on the ball, though, and I do feel like we need our ball-playing center backs in this team. But we could go after the likes of Milinkovic. I'm going to have to do some more itch research. Welsh gal, put me on the spot, but I absolutely love it. Making sure we're not missing anything. And then the Cockerel saying, big up, Jack. Perisic is very good at set pieces and corner taker. I think he should be our new set piece taker. Cockerel coup, big yourself up. Everybody, all I would say is do stay tuned. Do clear your schedules. David is going to be coming at you with the likes of the tactical breakdown later. So do clear your schedule. He's going to be putting up on stream, and you should definitely check it out. I think the likes of Sean will be joining. Check out the second channel, flatcapeurotalk, if you are looking for kind of any content that has to do maybe outside of Spurs, that if you just want to maybe take your mind off of things, maybe this international break, certainly going to be some good content coming up over there. But like I said, everybody, do wait for Dave and Sean to give you their tactical breakdown. But as always, come on, you Spurs. In Conte, we trust. And I will be seeing ya. Bye, everybody.